Why in the world would you want to be in politics if you can't make a difference? Everybody says they want to do that. Here you can make a difference not only with this generation, but the next generation after that, and the next one after that. What kind of legacy people could leave? They're within our control. The problems we have should not depress us at all. They're within our control. Obviously, when you've got close numbers, you're going to need a certain amount of bipartisanship to get these things done. Ought to have that anyway, sorely lacking. We do have some good people who are willing to do that. Not enough, but willing to do it. But we need to understand the basis of bipartisanship. It doesn't come from additional coffee klatches or additional photo ops or additional nice statements that always happen with a new Congress and a new president that last a couple of weeks before they get in the mutual corners and pull out the knives. It happens because of the support of the American people. That's the only thing that will drive the political leaders in Congress to do the right thing, because they'll be afraid not to if they feel like the people are on the other side. I am hopeful that after this next election, the good people, the people who are reform-minded and change-minded in the good way, and the next president of the United States can go to the American people and just say this, in effect. We've got a different situation on our hands now. We're living in a new era. We're going to be tested in many ways, maybe under attack even for a long time. But it's time to be honest with ourselves. We need to do some things better, and we need to do some things differently. Here's what we need to do, and here's why we need to do it. And now that you've been called upon, and you understand, I know that you'll respond for the sake of your nation and the next generation, because you always have. And when we get the response that I think that we'll get from the American people from that, it will shake the Capitol, and you'll have your bipartisanship. I don't think there's any question, but if we leave Iraq before there is some semblance of stability that's brought about in that nation, so that those brave people there can have a chance to make their government and democracy work, that the world's going to be a more dangerous place. And as long as we have any chance there, as long as those brave people on the front lines who are making our sacrifices for us and doing so much, as long as they have a chance and they say that they have a chance, we need to give them that opportunity to make that work there. My own feeling is under the worst set of circumstances there, that we're going to leave a new haven for terrorists, and we're going to leave an area of the world that becomes more and more nuclear. That those Sunni nations surrounding Iraq will respond to what Iran is doing in their nuclear program, and the whole place will be nuclearized, and that will be bad for us in many, many respects. But there's something else that we need to start thinking about very hard with all of this attention and all these headlines in one place. As important as that is, there's going to be a day after. There's going to be a day after. Even if we leave under the best of circumstances, even if we're able to assist in the restoring of stability there and give that government a chance to work, we're going to be out of there one way or another eventually. And when we do, we're going to find a world that's still very dangerous. And we're going to have to answer the question, what is America's role in the world now? We're still going to find Iran doing what it's doing, North Korea, of course, doing what it's doing, posing a threat and a danger to the world. Al-Qaeda is not going to go anyplace good. It's still going to be there, trying to get in the United States. George Tenet, former CIA head, just came out with a book. A lot of people are, of course, concentrating now on the who shot John and who did what to whom, and they're probably right. I haven't read it. Probably is just another attempt to answer critics and place blame on somebody else. But I did see this, and something that we need to pay attention to. And he's been there. He says, there's no question in my mind that Al-Qaeda is already here. They're intent, they're patient, and they intend to put a mushroom cloud over an American city, no matter how long it takes. That's the kind of world that we're going to wake up in after Iraq is way in our rearview mirror. We're going to find a China and a Russia, both with military buildups. We're going to see a China with hundreds of missiles pointed toward Taiwan, a country that we say that we will defend. We're seeing both of those countries play dangerous, aggressive international energy politics all over the world. And we turn and see our allies in NATO spending less and less on their own militaries to even defend themselves. Unable, apparently, to keep their commitments in Afghanistan, which they call the good war. So I ask you, even though we won't be going around in the woods trying to find any bears to kill, sometimes the bear visits you, whether you're looking for him or not. And when that time comes, and hopefully the people on the forces of civilization realize that they're fighting against the forces of nihilism and destruction and darkness and come together, who is going to need to stand firm and stand strong and stand united if it's not the United States of America? We've been there before, though, my friends. We've been there before. This is not our first rodeo. We went through a Great Depression in this country and came out the most prosperous nation in the world. We went through a bloody civil war and 2 world wars and came out the most powerful nation in the world and for the world. And we joined hands on a bipartisan basis and went through several year period of time in our history together during the Cold War that saw the end of the Soviet Union. So what do we do now? Not wring our hands. We do what we've always done before. There's a model for what we should do. We created it. We had strong bipartisan leadership during that time. You ever wonder why, when our problems seem to be getting larger, that so many of our politicians seem to be getting smaller? I pulled out a an old clipping. I'm a clipper. I see things I like. I'm always tearing it out of the newspaper, you know, and can't figure out why it's more difficult horizontally than it is vertically. But this I ran across the other day from almost a year ago. Thomas Sowell, who many of you probably read on a regular basis. He had a couple of instances in there. He said, when Wendell Willkie got defeated after a hard-fought campaign from Franklin Roosevelt, he didn't go around carping and criticizing and trying to undercut Roosevelt. He went to work for him, became Roosevelt's ambassador to Winston Churchill. Neville Chamberlain. A lot of historians say Neville Chamberlain was an appeaser and brought on the World War II faster than